Hi, friends. So, I've talked a lot in my videos about how I'm doing well, and I've talked about the progress that I've made. And I thought that it would be helpful if I maybe gave some specifics about things that I've done and maybe a little bit about my journey. Um, and with these specifics, it may be something that you might find helpful in your own journey. So, initially, my journey was complicated because when I was hospitalized after my suicide attempt, they put me on an antidepressant. And that antidepressant caused side effects that I felt were pretty devastating to me. One of those side effects was that it made me very depressed. And the other was that I had insomnia. So I needed to get through that time to be able to even filter out what was going on with me from what was going on as a result of the medicine. And I did begin to take some supplements that really I found very helpful. The biggest one was saffron. I took it in a capsule form. Uh, I use essential oils, and after that period of time, once the insomnia had begun to resolve itself, I have, on a pretty consistent basis, used my essential oils to supplement. I take the vitamins every day, and I truly believe, and I've said this on my posts in my essential oil page, but I truly believe that the only reason that I never got sick physically during that time was because my body was so protected by the vitamins that I take. And it is really highly unusual if you study emotions. It's when your emotions are heightened, when you're depressed, it is very likely that you're going to become physically sick because our body manifests those things. And we have emotional centers in our mind and in our gut and in our heart. And so, if we are feeling very emotional, a lot of times there's things that are going on in all three areas. So, it's not unusual to have gut issues or headaches or even heartaches, um, heart palpitations, things like that. So, the vitamins really, I believe, helped me to be able to just focus on the side effects and my own mental wellness. I have used Console, which is a really good oil for sadness and grief. I was using that a lot during the winter months, considering that my mother was also sick during that time. It makes sense that it was more than just my own sadness, but just life circumstances that were also making me really sad, and the console helped me there. I've also used some essential oils like Elevation and Arise that are uplifting. Cheer is another one. They're very uplifting. So those are also oils that I've used. On a daily basis, I've sort of settled into using Balance and Serenity. They're very good for anti-anxiety. They're good for anxiety. So it keeps me from feeling anxious. And I just put them on my pulse points. I rub a little bit behind my neck, on the back of my neck, and I rub it on my heart. And those are oils that I put on either when I get up or when I get to work, depending upon how late I get up. And the other oil that I use every day is Melissa. And Melissa is very good for depression. And I don't use it because I feel depressed every day, but I use it sort of as a means of protection. I just take a drop on my thumb and I press it up to the roof of my mouth, because that is the quickest way through the blood-brain barrier. And I also put a little bit of that on my heart, and I take a really good inhale of it. Those are oils that I use on a daily basis. Now, if I begin to feel really anxious during the day, or really sad, or something has happened that makes me emotionally feel like I'm more emotional than normal, I pull them out. I carry them with me all the time. So I pull them out and I'll use them again. You can use them multiple times in a day. They're an essential oil. They move through your bloodstream very quickly. So it's okay to use them several times a day. The other thing, I still am in counseling, and I've been very fortunate to have very good counselors between Georgia and here. And I love the counselor that I have now. She's amazing. And she's really helped me so much on this journey to take my healing to a different level, and really has been instrumental in me journeying to who am I today, and what is it that I want to be. A year and a half ago, I thought I had me all figured out. I had a routine of things that I did and activities that I was involved in. But there was a me that was suppressed for many years, much of my life probably. Not that it was bad, it just didn't fit where I was in my life. I would liken it to you never really have time to read because you're so active. And then you retire and you have more time on your hands and you find that you love reading. So let's just use that as an example, even though that's not really what I'm talking about. So I have found that it's really good to be able to share these things that I feel very vulnerable about with her, and to get her feedback on supporting me as I figure out who I am today, what works for me, what doesn't work for me. We're all works in progress. And I'm a lot more accepting of that. I don't need to have all the answers. In fact, I'm kind of glad that I don't, because I've enjoyed the growth. Sometimes that growth comes with pain. Pain because we make choices that we're not comfortable with, or pain because we hurt others in the process. And that's not part of the depression, but it affects us and we have to deal with it. We love other people. And when people that we love are hurting, then we hurt. That's part of our human nature. And that's also okay. But we also have to learn to accept what's ours in that and let the rest go, and also know the best ways that we can deal with that, those emotions when they come. I've learned some very practical things that have helped me. One of them is, and it sounds sort of silly, but when personally for me, when I begin to get emotional or something makes me really sad, I say that I'm better because I'm capable of dealing with that today, and it doesn't take me down for a long time. It doesn't take me down for days. It takes me down for a shorter period of time. And that shorter period of time might be minutes, it might be hours, but it's not like it was at one point in time where it felt like it took over my life and it was harder to get my life back on track when I would get into those emotional times. And so one of the things that we talked about is, how do you break the mental cycle? And so one of them was, look at like a rectangle. A room is square or rectangular. And so if you find yourself in that position where you're becoming very emotional, or it feels like it's becoming overwhelming, and you can't get out of your own mind, just start looking at the four corners of the room and move your eyes between them. that very action causes you to have to concentrate to do that. And that concentration can break that negative cycle that's starting up. Another one is an energy shifter that I like a lot. It's the one that works the best for me, and it's where you place your hand on your heart and you place your hand on your stomach and you close your eyes. You breathe in deeply. And you think about something that makes you happy or that has made you happy in the past. And you let all 5 of your senses recall that person or that event. What did it feel like? How did it feel on your hands? What did it smell like? What did it look like? What are you hearing when you remember? And when you stop and begin that, focusing on that, it takes you back to that happy time. And just reliving that happy moment can bring a smile to your face. Even if you with your eyes closed, you can bring that smile to your face. It can start to create some positive endorphins, and it can break through that negativity that may be starting to spin in your mind. Those are 2 that I use that help me. But I'm going to be honest. There are times when I stop and I think, do I just want to be miserable? Because I know things to do, but I don't do them. And I think at those times, I need to allow the sadness in. I need to allow myself to just be washed with it and not let it take me over, but to cry, to self-soothe. The other night, there was a storm, and it was the worst storm that we've had since I moved into my house. And my house is very open. There's sliders in the great room, which is behind my bedroom. There's sliders in the family room, which is beside my bedroom. And then there's 2 sets of sliders in my bedroom. So there's a lot of, when it was storming, there was a lot of noise all around me. And it felt like it was closing in on me. And it was scary to me. It was powerful. I couldn't control it. And I laid in bed, huddled up, and just watched the sheets of rain coming down and the lightning. And I felt felt this sense of calm start to come over me because I gave in to my fear. I stopped being afraid because I just allowed it to wash over me and wash through me. And the calm ended up creating a very restful sleep. I had never thought about just allowing myself to be sad. It was very beneficial. I didn't figure that out myself. Elizabeth helped me. She's the one that when I told her about the storm and told her about how I felt, that she said, "Do you realize what you did?" I hadn't. But that's something that shows me my progress. I am solving my own problems today. And I may not solve them in the moment they happen. I may not be able to become happy as soon as I become sad. But maybe that's not an expectation that's realistic. I hope that this is helpful. It's long. I'm sorry. But I really did feel compelled to try to share a little bit more about some specific things that have been helpful for me. And I hope that maybe they can be helpful for you as well. I'm thinking if there's anything that I left out. And I think that's it. I hope you have a blessed night. It's night now. A blessed time when you watch this.